What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Weekly GCAT, the only source you'll ever need to catch up on all the gaming news from the last week. As always, we have a ton of stories to go through, so let's go ahead and get right into this. First things first, Analog has announced a new Nintendo 64 console. Yeah, so over on their website, they say a reimagining of the N64. 4K resolution, original display modes, reference quality recreations of specific model CRTs and PVMs, the first and only aftermarket solution supporting 100% compatibility in every region, USA, EU, and Japan, coming in 2024, and then they go on to talk about the controller, which has wireless Bluetooth and 2.4G, 4 original style controller ports, completely engineered in FPGA, analog OS, no emulation. So, yeah, I really don't even know what to say about this, and unfortunately, 90% of the people watching this, including myself, will probably never get their hands on this, simply due to the fact that, as soon as the pre-orders or the orders or, whatever to purchase it goes up, it's gonna go out immediately, right? And then it's immediately gonna be like 5 times its price on eBay, and it's gonna be a whole thing. Regardless, I at least look forward to watching some videos about it, and, possibly reading about it and seeing how the device performs, but, yeah, something's telling me that most of us aren't even going to get the chance to use this thing, but it's still something cool that I wanted to highlight nonetheless. Next up, just something I wanted to highlight. We had some gameplay revealed for Skull Island Rising Kong, and in fact, the game even came out. If you're interested in purchasing this game, let's just cut to the chase. This game is getting absolutely demolished online. It came out October 17th, and yeah, I don't know, you're seeing the gameplay on your screen, and I knew going into this not to have my expectations too high, right? It's being developed by Iguana Beast Studios, and it was published by GameMill. If you don't know anything about GameMill, they're basically like the modern-day licensed game publisher. Think back to like the early 2000s, right? When we had games like SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom, and all like the movie tie-in games for like Nickelodeon and Cartoon Network, and DreamWorks and Disney games and stuff like that. That's sort of what GameMill does now. That's the main type of stuff that they publish, and when I heard that they announced that they were the ones working on a Kong game, I knew not to get my expectations too high, but, you're seeing the gameplay on your screen, and if I'm going to be honest, the internet, they're hating on it, they're going crazy about it, but for me personally, I've played a lot of GameMill games, and, I enjoy them for what they are. There's some charm to that, like, budget, AA title, you know what I mean? So, this is about in line with what I expected, but it's clear most of the internet was expecting something more, so, yes, by AAA standards, it may be a little rough, it may be a little janky, and at $40, yeah, that's a little steep. I'd say $20 would be a bit more reasonable, but down the line, if it gets a price cut, or if it goes to a subscription service of some kind, I'll pick it up and try it out, and I'll let you guys know how it is. Next up, Sonic Superstars released and the reviews went live. Right now it's sitting at a 75 on Metacritic, which is about what I expected, 70 to 80, and then it actually has a 9.4 user score, at least at the time of me writing and recording this, so I mean, that's pretty good. Usually, there's a bit of a discrepancy between the critic reviews and the user score, and yeah, this is actually reverse of what I was expecting. I was expecting the Metacritic score to be higher and the user score to be lower, but the user score is much higher. Usually the user scores are a lot more critical. When it came to Sonic Superstars coming out, right, I wasn't exactly sure what to expect, because obviously this isn't another Sonic Mania thing where it's solely trying to rely on nostalgia with the art style and everything like that, but in a way it kind of is trying to rely on the nostalgia because it's like a 2D Sonic. And I actually really did enjoy this game. I'm trying to think about how best to explain this game without necessarily spoiling anything. I would say, going into it, just expect a fun 2D Sonic game. Don't expect, some Game of the Year massive blockbuster, obviously. But, going into it, just know that it is a good game. I can highly recommend it. I thoroughly enjoy my time with it. I will say, it's a bit on the shorter side, but that doesn't bother me. I've been playing games since, the, SNES era, for example. The first game I ever played was literally DKC on the SNES when I was, 3 years old. So, a game like that isn't really a thing to me. It's just, it's one of those things where quality over quantity any day, you know what I mean? So while Sonic Superstars can be beaten in a sitting in just a couple of hours, there is a good bit of replayability here. It does have some of that classic Sonic level design where it would be worth revisiting these levels, trying to see, what different strategies you could use, what different paths you want to do to, get through the game. But yeah, I highly recommend this one. If you've even been slightly considering it, yeah, I would say that it's definitely worth picking up, especially if you're a Sonic fan. For the next 2 games, we're not going to talk about them much at all because, I really want to play them at the time of recording this. It's the day before they come out, and by the time you guys are seeing this, it's the day that these games come out, and, I haven't been watching any trailers, haven't been watching any reviews. I don't want to spoil anything for anyone, so we're going to get through this quick. So next up, Spider-Man 2, it released, at least by the time that you guys are seeing this, it released. The reviews went live. It's sitting at a 90 on Metacritic. That's all we're gonna say about that one. I did no spoilers in the comments. Everybody just keep it clean. Next up, same thing for Super Mario Bros. Wonder. It released, reviews went live, sitting at a 93 on Metacritic. Sounds great. No spoilers. I can't wait to play this one. Nobody say anything. Next up, while we're talking about Mario, Mario's new voice actor was actually revealed, and it was revealed to be Kevin Afghani. I'm gonna be honest, I hadn't heard of his name before this, but then after I read like what other things he's played in, then it kind of clicked for me like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, I saw him in those games before. So he voiced Raditz in Dragon Ball R&R, and he was also the voice of Arnold in Genshin Impact. But anyway, he posted this up on Twitter saying, quote, "Incredibly proud to have voiced Mario and Luigi in Super Mario Bros. Wonder. Thanks to Nintendo for inviting me into the Flower Kingdom," end quote. I can't wait to see what he sounds like. Again, I was saying this in one of the previous episodes, but like, I have no idea if he's going to try to do a new thing, if he's going to do like a Chris Pratt situation where he does like a different take on it, or if he's going to try to impersonate Charles Martinet. I don't know, but, you know, we'll find out soon enough, right? I mean, at the point that you guys are seeing this video, I mean, we all already know. The game's already out, but yeah, at the time we're recording this, I'm not sure. So I'm excited to see what he does with the role. Next up, just something I wanted to highlight here is that Bully has just celebrated its 17th anniversary. It released October 17th, 2006. Rockstar, Bully 2, when? Please? Thank you. We need Bully 2, please, man. Next up, a crossover was announced between Alan Wake and Fortnite. Not one that I necessarily expected, but anyway, this is here just to basically like catch you up to speed before Alan Wake 2 releases. Whether you never played the original and you were looking into Alan Wake 2 but didn't necessarily want to go back and play Alan Wake Remastered, or, you know, go back to the 360 version or whatever, you can just play this crossover and it'll get you up to speed. Or, you know, if it's been a while, because, you know, it's been a while since Alan Wake 1 released, you know, you can just play this as kind of like a refresher on the story before Alan Wake 2 comes out. I've already played Alan Wake the original like dozens, literal dozens of times before, so I definitely don't need a refresher. That being said, I don't play Fortnite much or often at all, but I will be checking this out because this does seem pretty cool, so yeah, I'll let you guys know how it is. Next up, this is insane, but you know, Minecraft, it's the best-selling game of all time, right? Well, it just continues to do that. It has officially surpassed 300 million copies sold. This was revealed during the Minecraft Live event that took place, where they said, quote, "As we approach the 15th anniversary," oh gosh, I feel so old, "Minecraft remains one of the best-selling games of all time with over 300 million copies sold, a milestone no one could have ever dreamed of when we were all placing our first blocks," said Helen Chiang, head of Mojang Studios. "Our incredible community has built Minecraft into what it is today and what it will become in the future. We can't wait to share new Minecraft content and experiences in the years ahead," end quote. That is just insane, man. 300 million copies. Oh my gosh, that is... even the second best-selling game of all time, which I believe is GTA 5, I don't think that's even crossed 200 million copies yet. I mean, it might have. I might be wrong about that, but that's just... oh gosh, Minecraft is in the lead, man. That is insane. I have so much nostalgia for Minecraft, especially like the early days back in like 2009, 2010, like back before it even went into full release. And now just seeing like a whole new generation of kids coming in and playing it and experiencing it, it's like... it's quite humbling, and it's awesome that one of my favorite games of all time is still alive, but, man, I feel old. Next up, this was a story that had me quite worried at first, but now seems like maybe I don't need to be worried, so... Best Buy will no longer be carrying physical media, and originally everybody was thinking, oh no, is this about video games? And thankfully it doesn't seem that way yet. Let's go ahead and just read this though. This coming from Digital Bits, quote, "Best Buy plans to exit the physical media business for good next year, possibly as soon as the end of Q1 2024. This includes not just their in-store Blu-ray, DVD, and 4K Ultra HD sales, which the retailer has been gradually phasing out for a couple of years now in their many store locations nationwide, but online sales as well. This means no more Best Buy exclusive Steelbook titles and no more titles from Best Buy, period." But then they updated the story a few days later with the following, quote, "Variety and Media Play News have now confirmed my reporting that Best Buy is phasing out physical media in the new year following the 2023 holiday shopping season. The company will apparently still continue to sell video games," so that's good. That's like the main reason I was even going to cover this story in the first place. A Best Buy spokesperson provided this statement to Variety, quote, "To state the obvious, the way we watch movies and TV shows is much different today than it was decades ago. Making this change gives us more space and opportunity to bring customers new and innovative tech for them to explore, discover, and enjoy," end quote. I don't agree with this. I believe consumers should always have the choice. Whether they want to go with streaming services, whether they want to go all digital, whether they want to go physical, that choice should always be left up to the consumer, especially since so many consumers, they're out buying consoles or, you know, just straight up like Blu-ray players for the sole intention of, you know, like, if they're buying a console, right, with that in mind, then they know, okay, I at least have the option to watch Blu-ray movies if I want to with this console, or there's others that go out and straight up buy Blu-ray players or 4K Blu-ray players. And then you have retailers like Best Buy trying to take that option away from consumers. I don't agree with that. That's just my point on it. However, this is not a movie news show. This is a gaming news show, so this doesn't necessarily pertain to us yet, but I have a feeling it will very, very soon, unfortunately. Next up, this one kind of caught me by shock, but then, I kind of thought about it, and then it kind of made more sense when you consider how long he's actually been there. But anyway, Pete Hines is going to be retiring from Bethesda. This coming from Bethesda on Twitter, quote, Pete Hines, SVP, head of publishing for Bethesda Softworks, has announced his decision to retire. Pete's public presence was only a small part of his role at Bethesda, although the way he represented us carried over into the values he nurtured here: authenticity, integrity, and passion. His contributions have been integral in building Bethesda and its family of studios into the world-class organization that it is today. His vision helped push us forward, and his hard work inspired us. We're thankful for his 24 years of leadership and wish him the best in his next chapter. Will miss you, Pete. So, yeah, at first I was thinking about it, and I was like, really? He's retiring? But then I looked at it, and yeah, 24 years, that makes sense. He's been there for a while. Yeah, obviously Pete Hines is a legend, well-respected, well-loved by the community, and I wish him nothing but the best. Next up, we got the second wave of October Xbox Game Pass games for you guys, those being F1 Manager 2023, which is available now by the time you guys are seeing this, City Skylines 2 coming October 24th, Dead Space Remake coming October 26th, Frog Detective: The Entire Mystery coming October 26th, Mineko's Night Market coming October 26th, Headbangers Rhythm Royale coming October 31st, and then Jusant coming October 31st. Pretty solid lineup, especially with Dead Space Remake, man. If you guys haven't played that yet, woo, please do so. And finally, for today's show, we have a string of Microsoft stories, so just strap in. We have a lot to read. I'm not going to slow the pace. We're going to try to get through this as quick as possible because there's a lot of words. Anyway, the first part of this is the Microsoft and Activision deal has finally closed. So, this coming from a blog post that they put up coming directly from Phil Spencer. Quote, we love gaming, we play games, create games, and know firsthand how much gaming means to all of us as individuals and collectively as a community. And today we officially welcome Activision Blizzard and their teams to Xbox. They are the publishers of some of the most played and most beloved franchises in gaming history across consoles, PC, and mobile. From Pitfall to Call of Duty, World of Warcraft to Overwatch, Candy Crush Saga to Farm Hero Saga, their studios have pushed the boundaries of gaming for players around the world. And then they go on to do like a whole little gush session, and originally I was going to read all this, but it is a lot, so we'll just kind of skip to the bottom to where they say, for the millions of fans who love Activision, Blizzard, and King Games, we want you to know that today is a good day to play. You are the heart and soul of these franchises, and we are honored to have you as part of our community. Whether you play on Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo, PC, or mobile, you are welcome here and will remain welcome. Even if Xbox isn't where you play your favorite franchise, because when everyone plays, we all win. We believe our news today will unlock a world of possibilities for more ways to play. Thank you for the ongoing support. We have so much more to come in the months ahead. I'm excited for the future and cannot wait to share it with you. I like how they emphasize that at the end, like no matter where you play, and then name drop like PlayStation and Nintendo, because obviously there was a lot of pushback during the acquisition because everybody was like, no, there's no way they're gonna, take Call of Duty away from PlayStation. I still don't believe that to be the case. Obviously, time will only tell, not that they actually own Activision, but, if you want to go through and read the whole post, you can easily find it online. It's just, it was a lot to read, and it wasn't necessarily integral to the story that, I was trying to cover for you guys, but, it's quite humble, it's quite nice. Next up, for this string of Microsoft news, Bobby Kotick will be leaving Activision. This coming from Hindustan Times, I think is how you say it. Quote, Kotick has now confirmed his plans for the future in a letter to employees. He wrote, quote, I have long said that I'm fully committed to helping with the transition. Phil has asked me to stay on as CEO of ABK, reporting to him, and we have agreed that I will do that through the end of 2023. We now join one of the most successful global companies poised for unprecedented opportunities to connect the world through our games. However, Kotick is not leaving empty-handed. According to the BBC, Kotick is set to receive a whopping $400 million from the sale of his shares in Activision Blizzard, while Chairman Brian Kelly will get $100 million. Talk about a golden parachute, dude. That is insane. That is almost $500 million, dude. This dude will never have to work another day in his life. I mean, he's been in Activision for 33 years, so some may say he deserves it. I'm not even going to get into that conversation. He's a very controversial man, but GG's, I guess. Next up, there was a lot of confusion online as to when we could expect to see Activision Blizzard games actually coming to Xbox Game Pass now that, Microsoft owns them. And unfortunately, it seems like it's going to be a little while. So this coming from the Xbox official podcast directly from Phil Spencer, quote, the regulatory process took so long that we weren't able to get in and work with the Activision Blizzard on that back catalog work. Now that the deal is closed, we're starting that work, but there is work. I think the Activision Twitter handle did put out something that talked about 2024, and I think that's accurate. I would love it if there was some kind of secret celebration drop that's coming in the next couple of weeks. there's not, end quote. So I had a feeling this was going to happen. There's a lot of, there's a lot of work to be done there when it comes to the Activision back catalog. A lot of IPs, a lot of licensing, a lot of stuff to figure out, and it's a whole thing. I expected this, but something's telling me 2024 is going to be a huge year, not only for Xbox, but also Xbox Game Pass. I feel like, because they haven't announced the numbers for Game Pass in a while, but once those ABK games start hitting Game Pass, I think we're going to be hearing about some big numbers next year. And finally, the last thing I wanted to talk about is Phil Spencer talking about old Activision IPs, which is something I've really been interested in. You think about all the Spider-Man games that Activision has published, the Transformers games, or Guitar Hero, like so many old IPs there. But we got a bit of a quote coming directly from Phil Spencer, again, coming from that official Xbox podcast. Quote, "The amount of franchises that we now have in our portfolio is kind of inspiring. It's daunting," Phil Spencer told the official Xbox podcast. "I feel that we have to be a great custodian for the content that we touch. There are memories from people on different platforms, different decades, and I want to make sure that when we're going back and visiting something, that we do it with our complete ability, a motivated team that wants to go work on something and make a difference. Not just create something for a financial gain or create something for a PR announcement and not deliver on the product. So I'm going to start with the teams and what are they passionate about. And that's why I'm excited to go on these studio visits, and then we'll look at it." Spencer continued, "I think we've done an okay job as Xbox. I don't think we've done an A+ job on looking at our franchises and revisiting them. It's always a trade-off between what do you do that's new and going back and doing something. I do think with Game Pass, we have the ability to pick a couple of franchises every year and almost do a, quote, revisited. I just made up that term, so it's not a brand, it's not on a box. But, I tease about things like Hexen just because I remember playing it as a kid. I have no plan for that, but I do think when you look across all of the franchises that are part of our teams, there's an opportunity for us to go back, even if it's just to recognize the moment and what those things meant in gaming's history, and do something right with it. Make it available to people through Game Pass. I think there's an opportunity. There's not a plan for that, but there's an opportunity." End quote. So there it is. That's the end of the Microsoft Activision Blizzard saga. It took 20 months for this thing to wrap up. I remember, oh my gosh, man, we talked about, I can't even remember how long ago that was. I guess it was like over a year ago. We were covering all the Activision Blizzard news, and we've been covering it up to this point. And wow, it's been one heck of a year. I'm glad that we're finally at the end of the saga. It was kind of becoming like an inside joke here in the show, where it was like, all right, guys, we're getting ready to talk about the Activision Blizzard stuff again, because there was just always something. But we're here. Activision is owned by Xbox, and it's like it's a breath of fresh air, not only for like Xbox and Activision, but also just for gamers, man. Just like, finally this thing is done, now we can move on. And in the long term, I do believe that for the most part this will benefit consumers. We'll see what Xbox ends up doing with some of those IPs and how they handle exclusivity. That remains to be seen, but for the most part, I'm hopeful. I trust Microsoft, and let's just, I don't know. Like, I literally don't even know what to say. This feels surreal to actually be able to say, but The ABK and Microsoft saga is over, so we can just kind of pump our fists in the air, say hoorah, and we'll see what the future holds. But anyway, that is all the stories that I have for you guys this week, so I'd definitely love to hear from you guys. What are your thoughts on everything we talked about, whether it's all the Microsoft stuff, Best Buy discontinuing sales of physical media, at least in terms of movies? Do you think they're going to be doing that? What am I saying? We know they're going to do that with games, but just what are your thoughts on that? And have you played the King Kong game? Let me know if you have, and let me know what you think about it. But anyway, this is Weekly GCap. New episodes go live every single Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern, so if you want to catch them as soon as they go live, well, then I know when to be here. But anyways, that's going to do it for me, guys. Thank you guys for watching. Have an amazing day and an amazing weekend. Stay beautiful. I love you all. Peace.